So we have been dealing with the zoography in the last 2-3 classes, and we have seen that what is zoography and about also the what are the different realms coming under the zoography. Now there are 6 major realms are there. They are Australian realm, then Ethiopian realm, then Nearctic realm, Neotropical realm, and the Palearctic realm. So we have to study about these realms in detail. And the first one that we are taking is Australian realm or Australian region. Now while we are taking a realm, we have to study about 4 things. One is about the geographical limits of that realm. Then we have to see what are the physical factors or physical characteristics of that realm. Then we have to see about or study about the animals of that region. So these are the 3 ways by which will be focusing on each region or realm. So first region, our first realm is the Australian realm. So in case of Australian region or Australian realm, we have to understand what are the main areas which are coming under this realm. So this realm, you don't need to pronounce the A. This realm includes Australia, New Guinea. So here I will show you where is this New Guinea. Here you can see it. This is the Australia. Okay. So here you can see that this is the Australia, and there is one island which is above near to the Indonesia is known by the name New Guinea. And this island group is known by the name New Guinea. It is a comparatively larger island. Then next region which is coming under the Australian region, eastern part of Indonesian archipelago, including islands of Sulawesi, Moluccan Islands, islands of Lombok, Sumbawa, Sumba, Flores, Timor, often known as Lesser Sundas. Here you can see that. So along with this island, there are number of smaller islands here. This is the New Guinea. Here there are number of islands are there. All these islands are mainly part of the Australian region or Australian realm. You might have heard about an island known by the name Bali, Bali Island or Bali Deep. So near to that, up to that area, this Australian region or Australian realm is actually coming. Bali is actually a part of Indonesia. It is one of the famous tourist places in the world. So then here you can see that it will be coming somewhere here. Maybe some other map it will be shown. Okay. So this is the idea regarding what are the main regions which are coming under the Australian region. Then this region also includes several Pacific island groups like Bismarck Archipelago, Vanuatu, Solomon Islands and New Caledonia. All these islands will be present here. So this is the New Caledonia. Here you can find the Bismarck Island. Here you can find the Solomon Island. These are very small islands. In our Pacific Ocean, thousands of these sort of smaller islands are situated. And many of these islands are now facing a lot of problems. For example, if you take the Solomon Islands, they are constantly facing the problem of global warming because sea level is rising. So after they are very much worried that what will happen to them after a few more years. So this kind of problems are there. So in this region, thousands of smaller islands are there. And many of these islands are actually part of Australian region or Australian realm. By that mean that many of the characteristics of these islands are similar to the main characteristics found in Australia. That is why these regions are included in the Australian region. If you take the animals and plants of these islands, for example, Papua New Guinea or Solomon Islands or Vanuatu, the plants and animals of this region have some similarity with the plants and animals of Australia. That is why we are including these areas under the Australian mega region. Now we are going to the physical features. Here you can find that there is a physiographic map. Physiographic map means a map showing the climate, showing the land area, forest area, rivers, etc. So if you look at this map, you can see that several areas of Australia are actually, here you can see this is the yellow area. This yellow area, this entire area is actually desert. This white area that you are seeing here is actually occupied by desert. Australia is mainly a desert country. Nearly 80% of Australia is actually desert. So only in the border areas or in the fringe areas of the Australia people are living. Most of the major cities of Australia are actually, here you can see that these are the main desert regions in Australia. Great Sandy Desert, Little Sandy Desert, Gibson Desert, Tanami Desert, Victoria Desert, Simpson Desert. So the center of the Australia is actually a desert region. Alright, Australia is a desert core. Here also you can find that. And the mainly the border, this fringe area or the marginal areas of Australia are somewhat green. The people are only living in those marginal areas of Australia. The rest of Australia is highly unsuitable for living. So because it is mainly consists of desert region. If you look at the major cities of Australia, you can see that, see, this is the Melbourne, this is the Sydney, this is the Brisbane. These are the three major cities of Australia. And here you can find Perth is the another major city, Adelaide is here, Cairns is here, Darwin is here. So these are the major areas of Australia or city areas of Australia. Only in this region people are living. Mostly in the middle of Australia, very few people are living because it is highly unsuitable for human life. Then what we have to see, what are the physical features of Australia? Basically it has a tropical climate. What is the meaning of the word tropical? You might have studied about the Tropic of Cancer, Tropic of Capricorn and other things. Here you can see that. So if you look at the Australia, the major portion of Australia is actually having a tropical climate. Here you can see that Australia has a tropical and a subtropical climate. Up to the northern of Australia is having a tropical climate. What is the meaning of that? So regarding the tropical climate, we have to understand what is the meaning of the word tropical, because if you know what is equator. Equator, I think you have studied, and you have also studied about the Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn. These two areas are actually coming under 23 degrees south and 23 degree north latitude. There are certain regions of the world in between this 23 degree north and south latitude. These regions are actually called tropical areas. So one important feature of the tropical area is that there will be more amount of sunlight. Since it is near to the equator, the climate, it will be having high sunlight, high amount of rainfall also. Then if you take the day length and day night, mostly we can find 12 hours of daytime and 12 hours of night time. So tropical climate, that is our climate is a tropical climate. So when you say that the northern part of Australia is tropical or subtropical, you can imagine that climate of Australia, which are present in the northern region of Australia, is actually having a climate similar to our own climate. Whereas the southern part of Australia is completely different. It is temperate. Temperate means that the climate of this region is similar to the climate that we are finding in Europe or in London or in Paris or in other areas of the Europe. That is why British people were mainly settled in the this northern part, the southern part of Australia, because these areas are mostly colder. The temperature, if you check the temperature of Australia right now, we can find, we will check what is the temperature in Sydney right now. See, we will see that the temperature will be around 17 degree. Now if you look at the temperature of Melbourne, which is more to the south, it is 14 degree. Okay, and there is one place called Tasmania. It is again more colder. Tasmania is at the southernmost part of sea, is 5 degree. So you can see that only the northern part is drier, whereas southern part is more colder. I will tell you about one more city, that is Darwin. Darwin is actually in the northern portion of the Australia. See, the temperature is 32. So the northern side of Australia is having this side of Australia is having a climate similar to us, whereas this is the Tasmania, an island, small island. There the temperature right now is 5 degrees. So such kind of extreme variations are there in the climate, in the temperature, and that will be affecting almost every feature of the animal life as well as plant life. So this is the meaning of the word tropical climate. The northern part is tropical in nature, southern part is temperate. So when we say about temperate, just imagine the climate of a London or climate of the northern Europe. So what happens normally in a temperate climate, the temperature will be usually below 20 degree. Then only we say it as so if it is temperature is below 20 degree, we can call it as a temperate climate. Whereas if the temperature is above 20 degree, we can call it as a tropical climate. So this is a broad, very simple difference between tropical and the temperate region. Then other point is that interior this area is arid. Arid means very dry with less water. That is the meaning of the word arid. So here, if you look that when we are taking looking the satellite image, or we can see that these yellow areas are showing high temperature. So these areas of Australia are showing high temperature. That means they are mainly occupied by desert. Here you can see that. So the interior areas of Australia is arid, means they are mainly with less water, more drier climate. That is why living in the interior area of Australia is almost impossible. If you look at the political map of Australia, see Australia has a number of states. One is Western Australia, one state. Another is Northern Territory, another state. South Australia, Queensland, then New South Wales. So this 1, 2, 3, 4, only 6 states are there. Then this is the 7th state. So these are but if you look at in the central area of Australia, there are no major cities are there. There is one city somewhere here in the middle, but other than that, there are no major cities in the central portion of the Australia. Most of the cities are concentrated in this marginal or fringe areas of the Australia. So that is how, that is why the Australians are not allowing too many people to come there. Even though Australia is a very large continent, most places are not suitable for living. It is just a pure desert. So the interior areas of Australia, here you can say, are arid in nature. Now what is the case? Eastern Australia. This is the eastern side of the Australia. What are the major cities which are present? Here you can see that Sydney and Brisbane. So this Sydney and Brisbane are located on the eastern side of the Australia. And these regions of Australia is covered with lush green forest. Lush green, lush means thickly covered. That is the meaning of the word lush. Lush green forest. So that is why when we are looking at this map, you can see that here you can see this is green in color because it is mostly forest. So this eastern side of the Australia, where the Brisbane and Sydney are located, are having lot of forest cover. That is why these regions are green in color. While we are preparing a ecological map, these regions are having a high density of forest cover, high level of forest cover. That is why we call it by the name. Here mainly we can find tropical forest are there, subtropical forest are there, and towards south we are mainly finding temperate broadleaf forest are there. So these are the different type of forests which are located on the eastern side of the Australia. Then what we are seeing is that the Western Australia is this. What is the Western Australia? This is the Western Australia, this region. Here also again you can see this is the Western Australia. Here one great sandy desert is there, great Victoria desert is there. So the major portion of Western Australia, it is the largest state in Australia. But the problem with the Western Australia is that it is mostly desert, and there are grasslands in the middle. Here you can see the certain areas of Australia, because Australia is very famous for sheep farming and rearing of cows, cattle, etc. Because the Australia is one of the largest producer of meat as well as milk. Because large areas of Australia are grass covered, especially near to the desert. There are a lot of area which are mainly grassland, and these grasslands are highly suitable for rearing of cattle, cow, etc. So that is why people are rearing a lot of cows, cattle, goats, etc. in Australia, and Australia is producing a lot of amount of milk powder as well as meat, etc. So this is how the middle portion of Australia, the western side of Australia, as we say, it is a desert, and there are lot of grasslands are also there. Here also you can see that these are number of important desert regions which are present here. Then this is an idea what are the type of forests, especially if you go to the eastern side of Australia, Sydney area, Brisbane. If you have any relatives in Australia, especially in Brisbane, they will be telling you that in Brisbane the climate is almost like the climate of Kerala. They have coconut, they have plantain. Most of the things that we are growing here, they will be able to grow because the climate is so similar to our own climate. So even though Australia is a small continent, its climate is highly diverse. Here you can see that this is the grassland. Australia is very much famous for its marsupial population or its kangaroo population. Because of the presence of this grassland, kangaroos are able to roam there, move about freely. So a lot of areas of Australia are actually grasslands. Here also you can see that these are the type of grasslands that you can find in Australia. See, these grasslands are not having lot of area with the grass. In between there will be few trees are there. So you might, if you have gone to Vagamon area, you know how grasslands are present. Vagamon is having a grassland like that. So this is the desert region of Australia. See, Australia has a most of the Australia is pure desert. But some area which are in the marginal or near to the seashore are only suitable for habitation. So these are the physical features of Australia. You can see that this is an idea regarding what are the major physical features. Are the northern side is tropical. So in a very simple sentence we can see that northern side of Australia is hot, southern side of Australia is colder. Now recently I come across one important, even though it is not very correct, but still on a common sense step, people living in colder areas of the world are generally more richer. Whereas if you take the colder areas of the world, especially European continent, whereas people living in warmer areas are usually poor. Now if you take in country wise also, colder countries are usually richer and warmer countries are usually, sometimes, most of the cases are poor. Not always the case. Even even in Australia, here there is a city called Melbourne. Here there is a city called Sydney. These are the most richer areas of Australia because they are colder. And here there is a city known as Darwin. It is one of the poorest city in Australia. Why this kind of difference is coming? And what sociologists are telling you is that when people are living in colder places, they won't get food every time. So these people have the habit of saving for future. It is that saving mentality or preparing for the future that has made these people more conscious in spending money, and that habit has made them more richer. Whereas people who are living, for example, in our place, Kerala, we have a climate. 12 months, our climate is very much suitable. We don't have any month which are highly unsuitable for life. So we will think that every day will be somewhat similar. That is not the case for people who are living in a colder place like Siberia or a northern part of England or northern part of the USA or northern part of Russia. There the climate will be very extreme. So extreme climate make people take good decision. That is how the sociologists are telling. So this kind of differences are there. The climate sometimes make certain areas poor and sometimes certain areas richer also. It is not always correct, but generally it is true. Now we are coming to the second portion of this realm, that is the sub-regions of Australia. So Australia has four major sub-regions are there. One is Austro-Malayan sub-region, then Australian sub-region, Polynesian sub-region and New Zealand sub-region. These are the four sub-regions of Australia. We have to understand what are the regions which are coming under the Austro-Malayan sub-region. We will take first one, Austro-Malayan sub-region, and consists of islands of Malayan archipelago. Malayan archipelago means Malaysian archipelago. That is a Malayan archipelago. Many islands of Malaysian are near to the Australia. Maybe I will show you some part here. So here also you can see somewhere the Malaysia is here. So many islands of Australia are near to the Malaysia are near to the Australia, and these islands are actually part of the Australian region. Then New Guinea, then Solomon Islands are also you can find. The Vanuatu is here, Solomon Islands is here. So these are all part of the first sub-region known by the name. See here, this is a Vanuatu, this is Solomon Islands, and some portions of Malaysian islands are also coming there. Vanuatu, New Caledonia is here. So all these islands are actually part of the first sub-region known by the name Austro-Malayan sub-region. Why it is known as Austro-Malayan sub-region? They have some similarity with the Malaysian region. That is why it is known as the Austro-Malayan sub-region. Then second sub-region is the Australian sub-region. In the Australian sub-region, entire Australia is included. Then Tasmania is also included. Here you can see that this is the Australia, and this small island which is located on the southern portion of Australia is known as the Tasmania. So these are the two regions which are coming under the second sub-region, Australian sub-region. And third region is the Polynesian sub-region. Now if you search about the Polynesian island, these Polynesian islands are highly famous for many of their tourist places. There are very famous islands are there. One famous island is known as the Bora Bora, somewhere here. It is a French island. So they are very much famous for their natural beauty. People are visiting these islands. So these areas are coming under the Polynesian island. So Polynesia is a very large group of islands. So thousands of islands are there. So these areas are actually part of Polynesian sub-region. Then another sub-region is the New Zealand sub-region. Here also you can see that. So this is the Australia and this is the New Zealand. New Zealand is situated slightly away from Australia. It's not very near to Australia. I think the distance between New Zealand and Australia is around 1,000 or more kilometers. So it is very far from Australia, even though we usually associate Australia and New Zealand together. New Zealand is not nearer. New Zealand is very far and more towards the east and more towards the south. More colder climate is there. So this is the fourth sub-region, which is known as the New Zealand sub-region. So coming to the different sub-regions of Australian realm, you have to discuss or you have to study about 4 sub-regions. One has a Malayan similarity, so we call it as Austro-Malayan sub-region. Other is the entire Australia. Then third region is mostly formed of islands of Polynesia, so it is known as a Polynesian sub-region. Then New Zealand sub-region. These are the 4 different sub-regions which are coming into the Australia. So then we coming to the third aspect of the Australian realm, that is a fauna. Fauna means animals of Australia. Different types of animals are the freshwater fish, amphibian, reptiles are poorly represented. Are very poorly represented. Why freshwater fish, amphibians are and reptiles are not common in Australia? There are certain reasons are there. Now if you look at the map here, you can see that most of the islands, here you can see that this Australia is actually connected by series of islands with Asia. See, near to the Australia there is a Papua New Guinea, and here number of smaller islands are there. And most of these islands are so near to each other. Animals can even swim or walk through this ocean area and reach up to the Asia. So many of the islands which are now present in Papua New Guinea are actually animals coming from Asia and occupied this region. What happened with Australia is that Australia is somewhat separated from this island group. So because of this separation, Asian animals were not able to reach Australia. That is why Australia is still keeping many of the primitive animals. What are the primitive animals? Marsupial mammals as well as egg-laying mammals. They were less advanced or more primitive in nature. After the marsupial mammals, more advanced placental mammals evolved, like cat, dog, deer, etc., or tiger, etc. But these animals were not able to reach Australia because of the presence of this ocean here. Even though they are nearer, there was no land connection, there was an ocean here. So animals from Asia were not able to cross into Australian land. That is why Australia is still keeping its primitive population of animals and plants. And if you visit any country, going to Australia is one of the toughest because by the time when you land in Australia, they have a very strict customs checking. Because if you go to the Dubai or go to Europe, after landing there, you can usually walk out of the airport. But in the case of Australia, they have very strict customs checking if you are carrying any plant item, plant products, or if you are taking any animal product. Even, for example, ghee. You are having a small packet of ghee, that is not allowed. You are having some masala items, that won't be allowed. So they have very strict quarantine or very strict customs, because the reason is that if any virus or bacteria is reaching Australia, that virus and bacteria or that insect will be multiplying in large number. For example, right now we are facing a problem of African snail. You know that there is one of big snail is there. That snail was actually not a natural animal of Kerala. When somebody has introduced that animal into Kerala, there is no natural enemy for that African snail. That is why they are now multiplying in large numbers and are reaching almost everywhere in the state. And also that is a problem when we allow some animal or some plant into our country without thinking. They will be multiplying in large numbers and becoming a pest there. So that is why Australians are very much strict about this this plant and animal products. Then they have their animals are mainly absence of higher placental animal. As I told you, modern animals are absent. And Australia is also called an island of relics. Relics means puravastu, that is the meaning of the word relics. Old item, or archaic means very old, very primitive. So island of relics is Australia is always called as an island of relics because many past animals, very primitive animals like marsupial mammals or egg-laying mammals like echidna or platypus, they are all surviving there. That is why it is known as an island of relic or archaic animals. So these are some of the major fish which are present in Australia: Scalodon, mackerel, cynoglossus, cutla, anabas, and sacobranchus are all present in Australia. Here you can see that this is the cutla, so this is sacobranchus, this is the shark, etc. So these are some of this is the cynoglossus which we call nunk. So these are the normal fish population which are present in Australia. Here, this is a one type of lungfish which are present in Australia. Then coming to the amphibian, these are the major amphibian animals which are seeing. Rana is there, hyla. Hyla is a kind of tree frog. Microhyla, Rhacophorus is also a tree frog. Then another is Alitis. So these are some of the major amphibians which are present in Australia. Then here also you can find green tree frog, Rheobatrachus is there. So a number of types of frog species or amphibians are present in Australia. Then coming to the reptiles, in the case of New Zealand, we cannot find any snakes. New Zealand is very famous for the absence of snakes. So if you are worried about snakes, New Zealand may be an ideal place for living. There are no snakes there. But New Zealand is a cold place with too much wind, a lot of wind. Every time it will be windy. Then the Sphenodon. Sphenodon is present here. Here also I will show you. This is the Sphenodon. So there are many rare, endangered reptiles are there. This is the Komodo dragon. Komodo dragon is a crocodile size, very giant animal. Animal eating and carnivorous is there. Then these are the snakes, dangerous. Australia is very famous for dangerous animal. Everywhere it is full of dangerous animal. So that is why many Europeans are afraid of even go to the Australia. But in our state we are familiar with the dangerous animal. Then this is one type of tortoise. Then this is a kind of reptile. So Australia has a lot of, see, Komodo dragon, scale-footed lizards are there, geckos are there, coral snake. This is a coral snake. So different type of reptiles are there, pythons are there, keeled snake-necked turtles are there. Then Sphenodon is present, found in mainly New Zealand. So number of type of reptiles are there. Then coming to the bird population, mainly kiwi. Kiwi is famous, is present only in New Zealand. That is why New Zealand people are known as kiwis. Then Romeo, Emu. Emu now it is also common in many farms in Kottayam. Then cassowary is there. Cassowary is also from Australia. Then along with this flight, these are all flightless birds. They are not able to fly. Then pigeon, duck, crane, crow, sparrow, tooth-billed region are all present in Australia also. Here also you can, this is the emu, this is the birds of paradise, this is the cassowary. So these are some of the important bird species which are present in Australia. Then we have mammals are there. 9 families of marsupial mammals are there. Then around 52 genera and 6 families of marsupial that are unique and are not found in Neotropics. Because coming to the marsupial animals are present in Australia as well as certain southern region of South America also. But majority of the marsupial mammals are only present in Australia. Marsupials show parallelism or parallel evolution with the placenta animals which are living in most of the Asia or other parts of the world. Then mammalian fauna, these are the main mammals: platypus, kangaroo, tiger cat, flying fox, marsupial, bandicoot, spiny anteater, rat, horse, donkey, pig, and this donkey, pig and horse and last 4 are actually introduced by the Europeans into the Australia. Here also you can see that the first one is the echidna. Here also you can find the platypus. Then this is the Tasmanian and devil. Tasmanian devil, it is a fox dog-like animal which is now extinct because Europeans have been hunting. Because if you look at that, this animal is looking like a normal dog, but it is not a normal dog, it is a marsupial dog. Now this animal has been extinct because of overhunting, competition with there is a normal dog that we are finding here is known as a dingo. The Europeans have introduced the normal placental dog into Australia and they were competing and with these marsupial dogs. Now it is completely extinct. Then this is also a marsupial. Here also you can find this is the Tasmanian devil. So these are the different type of mammals which are present in Australia. So not Tasmanian, but this animal is known as a Tasmanian wolf, not Tasmanian devil. So it is looking almost like a normal dog. Here also tiger cat, Tasmanian cat, marsupial cat is there, then marsupial anteater is there, marsupial rat is there. So one important thing about marsupial mammals is that they have almost similar lines of evolution with the placental animals of the world, and that is known by the name parallel evolution. For example, here we have cat. In Australia there is tiger cat is there. Here we have dog. In Australia, the place of dog is actually occupied by Tasmanian wolf. So in the case of a rat, here we have rat. In Australia, they have a marsupial rat. So similar kind of evolution has taken place in Australia, independent of the evolution of the placental animals. Scientists are calling it as the marsupial radiation and also known as the parallel evolution. Here you can see that the same here the placental animal. Similar to this flying squirrel, there is flying phalange. Similar to the groundhog, there is wombat. Similar to the placental anteater, there is marsupial anteater. Placental mole, there is marsupial mole. Placental mouse, marsupial mouse. So this kind of evolution is known as a parallel evolution. So this is an idea regarding what are the different type of animals which are present in Australia and their features. So when we are discussing about one realm, you have to discuss about the geographical limits of that region. Then we should also discuss what are the physical features of that region, and you should also discuss what are the sub-regions of that region. Then finally you must have an idea regarding what are the faunistic features of that animal or what are the animals present in Australia. So we stop here.